Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss. I'm here with the Hustler, baby. Hustler, say hello.
What up, everybody? You guys ready to dominate week one? I'm ready.
He's ready. I'm ready. Everybody's ready. Hustler, you had a big gambling weekend, actually. You're in Vegas, and you don't know nothing about college football. And I read in the newspaper you made a huge bet on Florida. You cashed in. Tell me how you got that bet in.
Oh yeah, got it in. I go to the South Point Casino. That's the close one to us, and they had to go all the way down to Florida. I mean, that's just a different environment, I mean, they're unranked right now, so just it screamed upset city, and I threw a couple bucks down on it.
Hustler, little few bucks. You also told me we should put some more on. I love that gambler mentality. I love it. Talking about gambler mentality, the Bills are in LA on Thursday night. They're favorites against the Super Bowl champions, 2.5 points. I don't understand why they're the favorites, but I think it's a sucker bet. I'm taking the Bills, baby. But all that being said, tell me what we should look for in the game. Tell me what players we should start fantasy-wise. Tell me what you expect. Give me a prediction.
I mean, you're starting Josh Allen, the Stallion. I mean, that guy's the man. I really do think that the Bills go in there and wreck shop on the road. We're going to talk about predictions of AFC predictions and Super Bowl predictions. And man, it's the Bills to the moon this year. If they can all stay healthy. But I'm debating Devin Singletary a little bit. If you're a little weak, in your flex spot, he's someone you can get in there. But Diggs, you're starting him. Gabe Davis, someone who you can start in your flex very easily. If you play in a deep league, Isaiah McKenzie is going to play, and I really think he's a sneaky play if you're in like a 14+ league.
So on the Rams side, of course you start Kupp. What do you do with Stafford? Let's say you have Stafford and you have another quarterback like close to Stafford, let's say on the bench. Do you think Stafford's going to have a big game, or do you start somebody else?
Well, I'm a degenerate, and I just want every part of this Thursday night game. I mean, you think of last year's Thursday night game to kick it off. I mean, there was just a lot of point scoring, a lot of passing, going on, and I just want every piece of it this week. So, yeah, starting Stafford, I mean, for sure, starting Kupp. Akers, I'm a little bit nervous about, but if you drafted him as like an RB2, got to do it. You got to play him this week. And not really any sleepers. I mean, I'm not playing the tight ends.
Higbee, you're not playing.
No, Allen Robinson, though. Let's get Allen Robinson in there as a flex.
Allen Robinson is a flex, brand new team. Big sign for the Lambs. I'm calling them the Lambs until they prove me wrong. I love calling them the Lambs.
What up, Sir Bongs a lot?
But so it should be a high-scoring game. It should be fun. You and I both are on top of the Bills like crazy. I have Josh Allen in our league, so I'm excited for that.
If we're talking about betting, so I don't want to bet on either one of these teams.
Oh, you don't want to bet at all? Okay.
Let's bet the over. Let's get the over. It's 51.5 was the last that I saw. It might be somewhere around there. Let's get the over. Both these teams can easily go for 30 points.
I don't think the Rams can do it against the Buffalo's defense. Buffalo's defense is a top 5 defense in the league coming into the season. I don't think the Rams have the firepower. They don't have the running game. They don't have the Stafford is a little questionable with his arm. We'll see what happens. I'm not a Ram fan this year. I wasn't last year either. And they won the whole thing. But all that being said, I think the Bills are a high potent offense. They proved it during the preseason, and they have the players. They're all healthy. They're all ready to go. All systems go in Buffalo. So I'm betting Buffalo. The over, I'm worried about the Lambs. I'm worried about them scoring. I just think Buffalo can just.
How much do you think Buffalo's going to score, if you had to guess?
38 points.
How many?
38.
38. So that means the Rams have to score 2 touchdowns to hit the over. Easy. You just said it right there.
I said it. Okay. Over. So let's talk about predictions. We're the first week of the season. I want to hear your predictions for the NFC and AFC. Who do you like in the AFC to win the AFC this season?
I like the Bills. I think Josh Allen's going to take that extra step. I mean, they've got they beefed up their defense. That was probably the problem in the past. In the playoffs was their defense coming up just a little bit short. And yeah, it's the Bills. I think they're making it all the way to the Super Bowl.
I'm taking the Bengals. They beefed up their line. They got better than last year. Burrow's a winner. Their receivers are the best 3 in the league. That's my personal opinion. But again, I'm a Bengal fan. And I think with their offensive line being twice as better as they were last year, I think they're the team to beat. And then who's your team in the NFC?
It's the Bucks. Let's go. Tom Brady's got a chip on his shoulder now that him and Giselle are having a little bit of issues. You know, he just needed another excuse to get a little bit more hyped up. Came real close last year and just fell a little bit short. They got to get back to full health, and it seems like Chris Godwin is there.
Chris Godwin. I mean, I never bet against Tom Brady, but I am going against the grain because that's what Ross the Boss does. I don't go look at the odds and say, oh, I'm going to pick the favorite every time, which I don't. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Hurts is going to be so much better with Brown as one of his receivers. I feel their running game will be very potent with Boston, and they have Sanders, and they have my guy Gainwell from University of Florida. I think the Eagles and their schedule, plus if you have time in the next few days, look at their schedule. It's a joke. I mean,
they play in the NFC least. All their schedules are ridiculous.
I mean, just that, but then also they're like out of conference games are a joke too. I mean,
I don't see the Eagles. If Eagles and Tampa Bay had to play each other, I don't see the Eagles. I mean, we're assuming full health at this point. Like last year, what happens in the playoffs? You don't have Chris Godwin. Of course, things are a lot different.
Okay, league MVP. Who is it?
It's going to be Patrick Mahomes.
Ooh, and who has the most fantasy points of any player this year?
Justin Herbert.
I love it. And then biggest disappointment.
Ooh, biggest disappointment, I think, is going to be DeAndre Swift. Hard Knocks love. I get the extra Hard Knocks bump. People are going to draft higher.
I love how you see DeAndre Swift. Just so you know, during our draft last week, one of the guys drafted DeAndre Swift mistakenly, he says, and he was like he was all depressed the whole draft, which I loved and made me laugh. So let's talk first week. It's like Christmas, you know, it's like the first week is coming up. You and I have many leagues. How many leagues are you in?
I just did a final count. I'm in 65 leagues.
And out of those 65, how much the all money leagues?
All money, 100% money leagues.
And you're all paid up. You're commissioner in a lot of them.
Yep.
I mean, for you must. What player did you figure out? What player you drafted the most?
No, because I'm not done drafting yet, but I forget what service you can go like plug in like your sleeper account or whatever, and it'll give you the little breakdown of who you have most on your squads and stuff like that. So I'm gonna do that on Thursday, and we're gonna talk about that on one of the shows.
That'd be great. And then Hurts, I noticed I'm in 32 leagues. I noticed that's including best ball too. I noticed I drafted Hurts in like 22% of my leagues, and I didn't even realize it because.
Antonio said I need to get into 4 more leagues because that equals 69.
69. That's awesome. Ever see Goons? Pick 69. That's awesome. So let's talk first week quarterbacks. Who do you feel is going to have the best game for quarterbacks for the first week?
I mean, it's going to get a little chalky because it's really for me between Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. I know the Raiders kind of beefed up their defense a little bit, but Chargers are at home, and Justin Herbert just loves to sling the ball, and he's always done decent against the Raiders. So yeah, I really feel coming out the gate him, and then Patrick Mahomes going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals weirdly always start off slow in the first game or two. And they always give up a lot of points in the first 2 weeks for some reason. So I'm on that Patrick Mahomes side.
I have Josh Allen. I think he's going to have a huge week against the Lambs, just because the Lambs are going to have a target on their back the whole season. You know that, being the Super Bowl champion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think Josh Allen's going to prove to the national audience that he's for real. I think he's going to be running. He's going to be passing. I think it's going to be a huge game. Lamar Jackson, I think, is going to be a huge game. They're playing, I believe, the Jets, and the Jets are awful between everybody. And then Herbert, I love the Vegas and Vegas, right? The Vegas and Charger game is a high scoring game. It's going to go back and forth. And those are the games you want to get fantasy players on, because these guys are going to be gunslinging the whole game. I mean, like Indianapolis and Houston. I mean, Indy's going to score points, but they're going to after a while they're going to stop scoring. You know what I mean? They're going to call off the dogs.
Yeah.
So, but I think the Raider game especially will be a high scoring game. I'm betting the over on that. And I think a lot of fantasy players will get a lot of points on those players too. So I agree with you on both of your picks. Who do you have? Like, if you were to get some sleeper picks at quarterback, let's say you don't have a great matchup with your quarterback and you want to get a sleeper guy in there. Who is it?
So I really like Matt Ryan versus the Texans. I mean, we know the Texans secondary is kind of shaky. I mean, we know Jonathan Taylor is going to be running a bunch, but they're going to uncork it a little bit. I mean, especially in these divisional games, I think they're going to come out and like really try to set the tone and score a lot of points versus teams like the Texans. And then if I had to give one other one, I think it's going to be Trevor Lawrence against the Commanders. I really feel like Trevor Lawrence is he's going to shock a lot of people because he's going undrafted in a lot of these single QB leagues. He's being drafted in the super flex leagues, but QB 20, QB 21. So a lot of guys are going in front of him. I think he really makes a push this year. And we're talking about a coach that made Carson Wentz get a couple MVP votes, and I think he's going to take Trevor to the next level.
My sleeper is Jameis Winston of New Orleans. They play Atlanta. Atlanta's, I think last year was the 29th defense. Horrible. Yeah. I think Winston's going to get a lot of, I think he'll be picked up a lot. We'll talk about that later, but he'll be picked up a lot, I think, during the waiver wire too. For next week, they'll see how good he is. And I think Michael Thomas is back. Their receivers are good. And I think Kamari, I mean, they're going to be good. And Atlanta's defense is horrible. So I like Winston. If you have a weak quarterback with a bad like matchup this week, if Winston's available, he's available in 70% of the leagues. Pick him up. I mean, he's there. And then,
what do you think about this, Crispy? My man David P. He said McCaffrey's going to disappoint a lot of you fools.
It's just like everybody's saying, like, when's McCaffrey going to get hurt? And when he gets hurt and he's out for a while, it's going to be the biggest news in fantasy football in years. I mean, everybody's going to say, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, and it's just part of the game. I mean, he could go all season without getting hurt. We don't know. Right. Supposedly he's like changed his diet and changed his workout. I mean, who knows if that helps? I have no idea. But I mean, as soon as he gets hurt, every fantasy geek's going to come out of the woodwork and say, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, Hustler, I told you, boss, I told you that he was going to be hurt. Yeah. I mean, if I had a crystal ball and I could predict that kind of stuff, I wouldn't be here with you. I'll be in an island somewhere. But
exactly. I mean, I'll be placing all the right bets in.
You and I would be on an island somewhere drinking margaritas and not even, doing anything.
Yeah.
I think my two busts this week, I have Mac Jones.
Okay.
I think Miami's going to shut him down like a fool. Yeah. And Daniel Jones in Tennessee, I don't see him doing anything in Tennessee. So if you have those two guys, you probably don't. If you do, you probably have him in a super flex or something. But I don't think those guys will have good weeks at all. I think they'll be kind of shut down. Let's talk running back. Tell me your three favorite plays this week in running back. Go.
So 3 favorite plays. I mean, let's put Austin Eckler up there. Let's put Najee Harris up there, and we got to put Jonathan Taylor up there versus the Texans.
I have Taylor. I have Henry against the Giants. The Giants' defense is horrible. I see them running the ball down their throat, and I think Henry's going to have a huge game. And especially if you bet daily fantasy, and you guys know what that is, I'm taking Henry in every one of my bets, so everybody knows what I'm doing. And I think Christian McCaffrey could be a good little bet too. I think he could come out and have a big game against Cleveland, whose defense isn't that great.
Yep.
And I think that's gonna be a fun game to watch. Mayfield could have a huge game too. You and I did not even discuss Mayfield, but Mayfield going against his old Cleveland mates, that should be a classic. I'm excited. What sleeper running backs do you have going this week?
So sleeper running backs, I really do feel like Josh Jacobs, someone who everyone's kind of overlooking, is going to end up coming and having at least an RB2 performance where he's in the top 24. And then I really like AJ Dillon going up against the Vikings. They're going to run the rock a lot. A lot of people aren't even starting AJ Dillon, unless you play in a deeper league, maybe a super flex. But I think he's someone you're going to be able to start as an RB2 damn near every single week.
I love that matchup, Green Bay and Minnesota, the first week. I mean, I feel that's going to be a huge fantasy game. Those teams go back and forth. I think Cook will have a big game. I think Jefferson will have a big game. I think Rodgers will have a big game. I think it's Aaron Jones should have a big game. That game will be high scoring too, because no way they'll be low scoring. There's no way. That will be, and then my sleepers. I have Penny for Seattle. Because the last 5 games he played in the season, he was like averaging like 118 yards a carry. I mean, a game.
He better be able to carry that over because that'd be awesome.
I mean, I don't know. If he's healthy, he can play. And then also you're going to laugh at me, but I just feel like the chips are down. Everybody's like an ADP. He dropped tremendously in the past couple of weeks. I kind of like Antonio Gibson. I kind of like him because he kind of inherited that job because of Robinson got shot twice, and he kind of inherited it. And I think he's going to take advantage of it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was. According to me, it was never his job to lose. Like, yeah, they're doing things to put him in the return game and things like that. But I don't know. I didn't feel like Brian Robinson officially got the job just yet. So whatever anybody thinks, I mean, I was kind of liking getting Gibson at his crazy value because I felt he was still the 1A to Brian Robinson's 1B.
Now, the one running back I like a lot, and he's actually available in a lot of leagues. I mean, you can pick him up in probably 80% of your leagues right now, or maybe 60%, is Mike Davis of Baltimore.
Yeah.
Dobbins is not going to be playing on Sunday. He'll be sitting out. And I know they signed. I know they signed the Raiders running back. What's his name?
Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake. They signed him. I don't know how many handoffs he'll get, but I think the majority of the handoffs will be going to Mike Davis. And I know he's old. I know he's not that reliable, but you know what? When he filled in for McCaffrey that one year, he was unbelievable. So I'm just saying it's just a streaking thing. I'm not telling you to pick him up for the whole year, but I'm just telling you if you need a running back and he's available, pick him up. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Pick him up and start him for week 1. I mean, just week 1. That's it. Let's talk about busts. Who's on your bust list for this week?
Ooh, on the bust list this week. This is every Dolphins running back.
Okay.
Is going to be
Edwards, Mozart,
Edmonds, Mostert, yeah.
Edwards, yep. And then and I have Cam. I think Cam Akers is a bust.
Okay.
Against the Buffalo defensive line, who's really good.
Yeah.
And I think Breece Hall. I mean, everybody's giving this Breece Hall all this press. I don't think he's going to do anything for New York this week. But
yeah,
I wouldn't even start him. There's a million other running backs I would start over him. And I know he's number 2 in the depth chart. I know, but still. He'll get some handoffs, but he'll get under 10 points. I mean, if you start him, you're not going to win any leagues with him.
Right. I really hope I'm wrong about Saquon Barkley being a bust this week because I have him on a bunch of teams. But going up against the Titans, I mean, that's just a tough rushing matchup. I really hope that Saquon can overcome, pretty much all the bullshit that happened the past year. Like he's 1 year removed from the ACL. So I'm really high on him for the season, but kind of nervous about the week 1 matchup.
I mean, I'm worried about the Giants' offensive line. They're not very good, but he's ripped, Barkley. I don't know if you saw the picture of him. Like he had a shirt off. I mean, he's built like me. I mean, he's like an Adonis. This guy is unbelievable hustler. His muscle mass went from like 0 to 60 in like 2 months. It was unbelievable. Yeah, I'm not saying he's doing anything illegal. I'm just saying he really worked hard to get that big. Let's talk wide receivers. Give me your
before we do wide receivers. Got a quick question from Patty in here. It says week 1, pick one: Juju, Penny, Lazard, Woods, or Edmonds.
Okay, well Lazard is hurt. He's very questionable. I don't think he's playing.
Yep.
Woods I don't trust on a new team. So let's look. Edmonds, you already told me you don't want to start any Miami running backs, so we took care of that. I like Penny and Juju. That's an interesting start. What do you think about Juju? Could be the leading receiver in Kansas City this year. I mean,
I'm gonna say start Juju week 1. I mean, I just feel like that Chiefs and Cardinals game, I feel like is going to be a real high scoring affair. That's going to be one of the ones that I'm betting the over on that game, just because I feel like a lot of points are going to get scored on both sides. A lot of it because the Chiefs don't really have that good of a defense. So we're going to go back a couple years to when Mahomes, threw for 50 touchdowns and was just slinging the rock, like crazy. And Juju could be the guy. I think it's really going to be him and Travis Kelce.
And remember, Juju had over 100 receptions in his prime. I mean, he's not even that old. I think he's 25.
25, yeah.
25. He's not old, but in his I'm not going to say in his prime, but in his beginning in Pittsburgh, he had over 100 receptions one year. I mean, so he's a guy that loves catching the ball. I mean, he's used to the pressure. He loves it. So I agree with you. I like Juju, but I like Penny too. I'd like either one. I think are good. We have another question right now if you want to read it.
Well, this is Antonio said NFL looks at the picture, and this just in: Barkley has been selected for a random drug test.
He's really ripped. If you guys have time, Google him. I mean, he's like he looks huge.
Freaking
let's talk wide receivers. I mean, wide receivers were taken a lot in the first round, as we know in fantasy football. Who are your 3 favorite plays this week for wide receivers? Go.
This one's tough, but I'm going to put AJ Brown in there.
Love it.
One of my favorite plays there.
I agree.
We are going to put not favorite, but value is Mike Williams. Just favorite value play. I think he's going to have a real big week this week. And then Cortland Sutton, I just feel is going to have an amazing week this week.
Yeah, I like Cortland too. He's going to be the leading receiver. I mean, Judy is going to get receptions, but I think Cortland's going to be his favorite receiver, I believe. We'll see what happens. I have no idea, but I would say Cortland Sutton's the number 1 receiver in Denver. We'll see. I also like Debo. I think Debo Samuel against Chicago is a great play.
He's a little banged up right now, though, right?
I think he's going to play. Just pay attention on Sunday morning to make sure he's playing. I hope you guys pay attention when it's Sunday morning and you wake up early and you're, there's a fantasy football show on ESPN2 usually starting at 8 o'clock.
Well, there's a way better show on the 420 Fantasy Hustler show. We're on.
Well, I'm just saying if you want updates immediately about
that's what we're doing on the show.
Tell me when your show is. Your show's what? Sunday morning at what time?
Sunday morning, 7:30 West Coast time is when we start, and we're live streaming all the way.
I'm going to watch your show. I did not know your show was live. I'm going to watch your show. I'm going to get the information. I'm going to ask questions. I'm excited to watch your show, so don't worry. I'm there. I also, what else I like because he's in a new place is Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill is going to have a huge game against New England with just having a new surrounding and going against the Patriots. I think he's going to have a big game. I mean, I just feel it. Tell me some of your sleeper picks at receiver.
My favorite sleeper pick this week is going to be AJ Green. So if you got some kind of random injury that popped up, this is a guy you can go get on the waivers. I mean, I think he's only 30% rostered. And so you can go get him in a lot of leagues. And because we're talking Zach Ertz is hurt. We're talking Hopkins is out. Rondell Moore is hurt. What's his name? Marquise Brown. I mean, he's been hurt this entire time, so who knows how much he's going to get worked in right away. AJ Green is really the only one who has the rapport with Kyler Murray, and I expect a big week 1 game versus a trash Kansas City secondary.
It's funny. I have Hollywood Brown. I like AJ Green too, just being a Bengal fan and what he did in Cincinnati. And I also have, people don't remember how good this guy was, but he's supposedly he's healthy as Michael Thomas in New Orleans. And I told you they're going against that Atlanta defense. They're horrible. So if Michael Thomas, they're kind of iffy about like giving information out on him. I don't know why. It pisses me off. But yeah. I mean, I think Michael Thomas is a good sleeper pick. He's probably not available, but in your league, but you may want to check. And if you haven't, maybe you want to start him. Tell me some of your busts.
So busts early, I think Rashad Bateman might be one of them in week 1. I mean, someone who's just been rising in ADP. But the tandem of Hill and Waddle, I really think are going to be bust this week versus the Patriots because just of the way that the Patriots scheme against wide receivers, I think they're going to force them to work through the tight end and the run game. And I just don't think the Dolphins are going to do that much on offense. I just think the entire game, like I'm taking that's one of those ones I'm taking the under real hard because both defenses are real nasty. And Amari the Pooper Scooper, he's another one over there with Jacoby Brissett. Super slow game for the Browns coming out, and Amari Cooper is drafted as a starter, and I feel like he needs to be sat by everybody this week.
So Lazard is hurt for Green Bay, so I have him in a few leagues. I'm not starting him this week. He's very questionable. He limped off practice yesterday. I don't know how healthy he is, but I'm not even going to start. I'm taking him off my any starting places. I'm not starting him. I'll probably, I don't think I'm starting any Green Bay receivers. I have no idea who he's throwing to. I'll wait. I like Christian Watson, but I don't know if he's playing either. DK Metcalf, I'm not starting him,
Right.
especially Geno Smith. I'm staying away from. The only thing I'm doing with Seattle offense is my guy Rashad Penny. That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all I'm going to do. Everybody else is off limits for me with Seattle. I don't trust that team at all. So that all being said, we'll move on to, let's talk about tight ends. We'll make this quick with tight ends. If you're starting tight ends, of course you start Schultz, Pitts, Kelsey, Andrews, Waller, and Pitts. You start all those guys.
Yeah.
Do you have any like sleeper guys we should talk about?
From which game did you say?
Just like any tight ends that aren't really being talked about right now that you think will have a touchdown or maybe have some yards.
So give me Evan Ingram. He's someone who he's not going to block. He's only going to be out there to pass catch. And we talk about Doug Peterson, and we talk about the Eagles offense and the offense that he kind of constructed. It all works through the tight end, and that's what they brought him over there for. So especially early before he gets hurt, because he literally always gets hurt. Evan Ingram, he's going to be a sleeper tight end in week 1.
I like Conklin of the Jets. Huge sleeper pick. I mean, you can pick him up right now. I mean, he's available in every league unless you're in a 20-person league or something. I like Conklin. I think he'll have a touchdown. I think Joe Flacco, I think he's starting for the Jets. I think he'll throw it to the tight end a lot.
And we're not sure as of now because there's still a shot that Zach Wilson will play this week.
I still think the Jets will use the tight end, and I think Conklin's going to be the guy. Again, if you need a tight end, if you don't have a top tier tight end or top 3-tier tight end, Conklin, pick him up, start him, see what happens. It's just my sleeper pick at tight end. Let's talk about kickers. Kickers is like throwing darts at a board. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Gould just because San Francisco is playing the Bears, and he's like money. I mean, he was money last year, and I have McPherson just because they're playing Pittsburgh and there'll be a lot of points scored, I believe. And I also like Tucker just because Justin Tucker is one of the best kickers in the league. I mean, but again, I know you hate kickers. I mean, that's why I'm making it quick for you. But is there any kickers that you like this week that we should pick up?
No.
Okay, I made that easy for you. Let's talk about defenses. I know you don't like to play in leagues where you do team day defenses.
I do not.
I'll make it easy. I like Tennessee against the Giants. I like Baltimore against the Jets. I like New Orleans at home against Atlanta. Those are the 3 different defenses I like this week. I like the Eagles. I like the Eagles too. The Eagles are playing Detroit.
My favorite defense that's not been rostered in a bunch of leagues this week is the Broncos versus the Seahawks.
That's a great one too. See, Hustler, you got a defense. You don't even care about defenses.
I still do one video on defenses every single week, at least which ones you can pick up and start and grab off the waiver wire. So that is one video that I do every week dedicated to the team defense.
I know how much you despise defenses, Hustler. I know you hate them. So let's do a future. I wish you had the sound effects, but let's talk about the future. On Monday, when we do our waiver wire, who you should pick up, give me your 3 names that you feel will be the most wanted waiver wire pickups on Monday morning when we wake up.
So we're talking about next week?
Next week, you're waking up. The games have been played except Monday Night Football. Tell me the 3 names you think will be.
Why don't we talk about the waiver wire guys that we can pick up for this week, and then we'll talk about that.
I like doing predictions. So I'll tell you who I think will be picked up a lot. Just because their performance on Sunday, I think Mike Davis will be picked up a lot. I think we'll see extremely a lot of pickups on Mike Davis on Monday or Tuesday, whenever. I guess Tuesday is when the waiver wire really happens. I think Christian Watson, if he plays, I think he could have a big game for Green Bay. I think he could be picked up in a lot of leagues. And I mentioned before, I think Winston of New Orleans will be picked up a lot after his performance. Remember last year he had a huge game, his first game last year. I think was it 2 years ago, Hustler? They beat Tampa Bay by they destroyed them. Remember, they went to Tampa Bay and they destroyed Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that was in 2020, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was 2020. I think he's gonna have a big game like that. Winston, and I think he'll. I think people will pick him up. It's just a little fun game we have. Just predicting like who do we think is going to be picked up on. Who's going to be the big talked about waiver pickups on Monday. And I have no. In reality, we have no idea. I mean, there's going to be a lot. Like you say, we were in our living doing waiver wire stuff. I know you're very.
We're going to tell you on Tuesday who to pick up because waivers don't kick in until Wednesday. So that's one of the reasons why we do this show on Tuesday to get you ready
waiver
for the
wire Wednesday. You're correct. I'm still doing baseball. But waiver, yeah, and we do our show on Monday afternoon. We talked about waiver wire pickups too. So it's like, we just don't know. I like to stay ahead of the curve. I like to pick up players before it actually happens, but it's kind of hard to do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like these guys, there's guys we could pick up right now, like before next week kicks off or before this week kicks off. And so you could be ahead of the curve. We said AJ Green, we said Mike Davis.
There you go.
If Damian Pierce is for whatever reason, a free agent, go pick him up like right now, please.
He's not there's no way he's a free agent. Damian
you never know, man. There's some people playing some pretty casual leagues who don't know about.
I've been in leagues. He's been drafted. People are so. Well, then we'll go after that. I mean, Damian Pierce has been being drafted in like the 3rd round in some leagues. I've been drafting it. I'm like, are you guys insane picking a Houston running back that early? I mean, you're talking about a last place team. They're lucky to win 3 games. And you're picking their running back in the 3rd round. I mean, it's crazy talk. Crazy talk. Okay, well, that's our show for this week. Hustler and I have things to do. We got people to see. We hope you enjoy Thursday night's game. Let's see if it's a over scoring game.
It is.
I know Hustler. I know what Hustler will be Thursday afternoon. I know where he'll be heading in the car. So we all know what he's going to be doing. Hopefully he'll let us know in his social media and take pictures of it. But Hustler, I'm excited. It's going to be a great season. And folks, tell all your friends about our show. And if you want to win fantasy football, you better listen.
Oh yeah, we're going to get you ready. All you got to do is listen. That's it.
All I do is listen and listen to us. We know what we're doing. Trust me. Okay, I'm Ross the Boss. Hustler, say goodbye.
Yep, I'm the Hustler. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel, 420 Fantasy Hustler. We appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Let's do it. Week 1. Here we go.